Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back. And yes, we are going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 5 dashboard in this video. More specifically, all the accessibility features and how well the screen reader works with the PlayStation 5. What it does read, what it doesn't read, where there could be improvements, but yeah, so we are connected to my PC with the PlayStation Remote app here, and the music that you hear is every time you move over to a specific game. You can turn this off in options if you want to, but it kind of plays like a little bit of audio that is themed around that game, some sort of music or audio clip or something like that. And this kind of just cheerful music is for Astro's Playroom. We'll pop into that in just a little bit, just to show you a couple of things like about the controller. I'm recording this out of order, but I wanted to make sure in the announcement video that I did the other day, I wasn't sure if some of the haptic feedback and everything was going to work over the remote play, but it does. It does. I checked it out right before recording this video, so we are golden. I'm going to record a separate video for the hardware and that, and I'll release that one first, but this one is coming out. So without further ado, let's take a look at the PlayStation 5 interface. It is different from the PlayStation 4 and 3 before it. It doesn't use exactly the cross-media bar that you might be used to, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It is definitely a new interface, but I will say it is speedy. There really hasn't been much of an issue with lag or anything like that. Things generally pop up pretty quickly. I remember some of the old dashboards, especially like on the Xbox One. Oh my god, like you just had to wait forever for some of that stuff to pop up. So
Explore. Home for Jesse
going left and right, I'm going to start at the very left here, and you hear the
button. Press cross to select. 1 of 11.
that is you've hit the beginning of the row or end of a row.
For more content, press the down button.
So
Explore. PlayStation Store.
PlayStation Store, we'll go there shortly.
Press cross. Explore. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Explore, this is kind of your news and announcements that you can go through, and I can go down and into that.
Astro's Playroom. Home for Jesse
There's
Anderson.
Astro.
Press cross to select. God of War. Home for Jesse
God
Anderson.
of War, I installed that the other day. I definitely want to play that.
L1 button or R1
They added a
button.
PlayStation 5 mode where you can play it with faster frame rate and whatnot. Looking forward to that.
Ratchet and Clank. Home for
Ratchet
Jesse
and
Anderson.
Clank, the PS4 game that I
Press
never
cross to
got
select.
around to playing,
5
with
of
the
11.
sequel, or with the Rift Apart game coming out this June. I want to check that out.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, The Last of Us 2.
Press cross to select.
Played a little
6
bit
of
of that
11.
on this system
L1
so
button or
far.
R1 Godfall. Home for Jesse
There's
Anderson.
Godfall
PlayStation Plus. Home for Jesse Anderson.
and PlayStation
Press
Plus.
cross to select. 8 of 11.
I did
L1
just
button or
sign
R1
up for
button.
that.
Options button,
I
options.
figured,
For more
why not?
content,
Let's
press the down
explore
button.
everything, get a few free games. I got Control that I should download at some point. I've heard some really good things about the haptic feedback on some of the stuff in there, so I kind of want to check that out. There's a couple other games that I claimed, but haven't downloaded yet either.
Destruction All Stars. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Destruction All Stars. This
Press
is
cross to select.
this is one of the
9 of
reasons I
11.
subscribe to
L1 button or R1
PlayStation
button,
Plus.
switch Options button, options.
It's
For more
free with
content, press the down
PlayStation
button.
Plus, and I kind of wanted to check that out, see what it was like. It's kind of a mostly vehicle, but a little bit of on-foot combat. I have not played it yet, but it seems pretty wild, and I have some concerns potentially about how accessible it might be visually, but hey, it's free with Plus, so I figure that's a good way to try it out.
Maiden. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Maiden.
Button.
I still got to
Press
play the
cross to
full
select.
thing of this yet.
10 of 11.
Um,
L1 button or R1 button.
This
switch
is the
homes.
Resident Evil
Options button,
Village
options.
demo
For more
that they
content, press the down
announced
button.
a couple of weeks ago. I've only gone into it for a couple minutes just to see if it worked.
Game library. Home for Jesse Anderson.
And here's my game
Press
library.
cross to select.
So let's
11
go
of 11.
down in there.
L1 button or R1. Pool 38. Sort by most recent. To move. Control. Ratchet and Clank. Rip. Astro's Playroom. The Last of Us Part 2. Godfall.
And it's in a
Install.
grid.
But Concrete Genie. PS4. Download.
And you hear the
PlayStation
doo-doo.
Plus.
I've hit all the way to the
Press
right. Let's
cross
go
to select.
down.
Resident Evil Village. Installed. Demo.
Left.
Mortal Kombat 11. Download.
I did pick up
Button.
Mortal
Press
Kombat
cross to select.
11 because it was on sale. It was like 50 or I think it was like 50 or 57% off. So I'm like, you know, if people end up wanting to play, then I can have a PlayStation version now. So I don't have it installed yet, but I did potentially grab it just in case.
Rocket League. PS4.
Rocket League.
Download. Play Destruction All Stars. Control.
There's Control.
Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Doom 1993.
The Doom,
Installed.
the original 1993 version.
Press
Because
cross
I
to
have that, because of course I have it on every platform I can.
Marvel Spider-Man. Installed. Button.
And it
Press
tells
cross to
you
select.
whether it's installed or not. Like if I go,
Final Fantasy VII Remake. PS4. Download. Button.
it tells me that I
Press
can
cross to
download
select.
it if I want to. I have not played that yet, but I picked that up on sale.
Kingdom Hearts 3. PS4.
Picked that up on
Download.
sale.
Button.
I said
Press
my
cross to
pile of
select.
shame is just terrible. But you get the idea. I can go into any one of these and I don't know if it'll automatically download them if I...
Final Fantasy VII. Kingdom Hearts 3. Final Fantasy VII
Let's see,
Remake.
which one would I want to
PS4.
install?
Arcade game series. Ms. Pac-Man. PS4. Download.
I can install something
Button.
small.
Press cross.
Let's
Knack 2.
see.
PS. Arcade. Knack 2. Arcade game series. Ms. Ghost of Tsushima. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5. Ghost of Tsushima.
All right, let's go to Ghost of
PS4.
Well, let's go to Ghost of
Download.
Tsushima because that's one
Button.
I want to play too that I really haven't gotten around to.
Ghost of Tsushima. PS4. Download.
So
Button.
here's your game
Press cross to
page.
select.
I have
Arcade
download button.
slash
If I
rating
go to
slash
the
privacy slash
right,
terms. More options.
I get
Button.
more options.
Press
I
cross
can
to
hit
select.
A on that or
Arcade
X.
button.
I keep
Help
calling
slash
it
rating
A.
slash to move, press the up and down button. Follow. View product. Button. Follow. Button. PS4 full Ghost of Tsushima digital mini soundtrack. PS4 full Ghost of Tsushima bonus content. Health slash rating slash privacy slash terms.
So you get the extra
Press cross to
content
select.
if you got any extras, like if you got the special edition or anything like that. You can download those if you want to as well. Gonna hit circle to get out.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Let's go down.
PS4 official news. Version 1.1 update. October 27, 2020. Video. Button.
Okay, so there's a
Press cross to
video of
select.
some news with
Audio
an
button.
update.
Trending broadcasts. Philip is Freaky Friday Ghost of
You
Tsushima.
can cut some
Legends.
broadcasts.
Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Free. Trending Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Free. PS4. Add-on.
Okay,
Button.
add-on,
Press cross
free
to select.
add-on.
Ghost of Tsushima Digital Deluxe Upgrade. Purchased.
Yep, I
PS4.
already own that.
Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Free. PS4. Add-on. Button. Press cross to select.
Let's see what that is.
Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Released October 16, 2020. Sony Interactive Entertainment. PS4. Add-on. Free. Media. Description. ESRB mature 17 plus. Blood and gore, intense violence, language, partial nudity. Users interact.
Yeah.
Add to library. Button. Press
Well,
cross
it's
to select.
free. We'll
Audio
add it to
button. Health slash
library.
rating
I'm
slash
not
privacy.
exactly sure what it
Purchased.
is, but sure,
Disable.
we add it to the
Unselectable
library.
button.
Now if we
Audio
arrow
button. Health
down,
slash rating. Image. Button. Ghost of Tsushima Legends is a new online co-operative multiplayer asterisk experience inspired by Japanese.
oh, that's the, oh,
Choose from
right,
the
yeah,
four
yeah,
classes
yeah,
shown.
that's the
Enter.
on,
Line
okay,
of
that's the
sense and friends
multiplayer.
develop
So you get the
online matchmake
description
add-ons.
and everything. I'm going to hit
Ghost of
circle to
Tsushima.
back
Ghost
out.
of Tsushima.
So there we go.
Ghost
We
of
backed
Tsushima.
out of that. We're back in our
PS4.
game library. Let's go
Download.
all the way back up to the top.
Your game's home. Button. Game
And
library. All 38. Your collection. Press the down button. Maiden. Home. Game library.
so there's my
Home
game
to Jason
library.
Anderson.
So
Button.
now we're back
Press
on
cross
that.
to select.
Think of it as like
Forward
almost
button.
like a top
L1
level
button, R1
menu,
button,
like
switch
you would
modes.
get like a
Options button,
ribbon or a
options.
menu bar
More
on your
content.
computer
Press the down
almost.
button.
And if I arrow more to the right, I can't. But if I go up one more,
Your game's home. Button. Press cross to select. 1 of 5.
so your game's home. So the way it's kind of weird. They're not all on one line. You have two home screens essentially. You have a games home and a media home that you can switch between. And I'm on the games home. That's what we've been looking at so far. That row that we've just walked through is a little bit lower and on the left side. And then on the right side, in the upper right, you have some other just quick, more like system options and functions. And in a way, I kind of like that they're on different lines because I can just arrow all the way up and I know that I'm going to land on, the first thing I'm going to land
Your
on,
media home. Your game's home.
your game's
Button.
home.
Your media home.
There's my media home.
Press cross to select. Search. Button.
There's a
Press cross to
search. I
select.
can search the
3 of
store
5.
or my library or whatever. I can just do a search. And
Settings.
settings.
Button. Jesse Anderson's profile.
There's my
Button.
profile.
Press cross to select. 5
And
of
that's
5.
it. So there's your options. We'll go into settings here in a minute. But let's say that I want to do a search.
Settings. Button. Search.
And
Button.
I'll show you the
Press cross
on-screen
to select.
keyboard.
Search for
Again,
games, movies,
it
TV
works.
shows, players, and apps. Input
So I
field.
can search for
Press the
players
cross
or
button to select.
apps.
On-screen keyboard. G.
Oh. Oh, is it telling me that I can use a regular PC keyboard? Oh, interesting. Well, that's cool. So if I'm doing it remotely, I don't even have to use the controller. Okay, so I guess I'm not gonna be able to demo that. Oh, okay, here we go. Yes, I can. I just hit circle to back out. So if I want to do, let's say, I'm trying to think of an upcoming PS5 game that I want to look for.
F capital, D capital, S capital.
So I'm just
D
arrowing
capital,
around.
F capital.
Oh, I just can't think of the name. Well, let's just say that I want to find
R capital, R capital,
R
W S A
A
F R T
T
B V C
C
B G H H F R E R T.
Ratchet, and then I'll go down.
Change the symbol panel. Read all. Done. Done.
I'll go done.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart Digital Deluxe Edition. Purchased.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. I couldn't help
Button.
myself.
Press cross to select.
I know I'm going to want to play it. So there you go. I did a search all on the controller. Now, you can switch if you're doing a message or a search, a text message or a search. You can also do a dictate. There is you can use your controller's microphone to do that as well. So again, all of this stuff is screen reader accessible. I apologize if I ever say voiceover accessible because I'm just so used to doing iOS apps. But there you go. There's the search. That works fine. I can go into the store page. It loads.
Official news. Coming June 11th, 2021.
So there we go. There's your news. There's your release date announcement.
Button. Press cross to select.
Okay, they don't have the game info page just yet because it's not out yet. But if it was already out, there would be like, kind of like you saw on the other page, you would see more info.
Input field.
All right, let's get out of the search.
Button. Press
And
settings.
let's go into settings.
Settings. Network. Button.
Now you notice that my text here is nice and large. That is not the way it was by default. It was smaller, but I chose to make the text bigger. So I'll show you the accessibility features amongst some other things. So
accessibility, user's guide, health and safety, and other information.
Okay, there's your user
Press cross
guide.
to select. Accessibility. Button.
Accessibility,
Press
I'll
cross to
go there
select.
for sure in a minute.
Network. Button.
Network,
Press cross to
there's you
select.
connect to your Wi-Fi or wired network. I should mention that I have had a little bit of I did have some trouble connecting to my Wi-Fi network. It would connect, but then it kept dropping. And I got frustrated and finally found a long enough LAN cable, Ethernet cable. So I do have it wired plugged into my router right now. And I have heard a lot of other people have had similar issues with the Wi-Fi connection. So I don't know if I'm going to further troubleshoot that later or not. Since I can and I have the cord in it already, I'm just going to stay on wired, I think, for the most part. And it'll work much better for streaming to my PC too. There shouldn't be near as much latency. So I have had some trouble with that, and that could be potentially something that you may have to fight with, because I did see quite a few people also sort of complaining about that on the YouTubes. So,
Users and accounts. Button.
users and accounts,
Press cross
pretty
to select.
self-explanatory.
Family and parental controls.
Okay,
Button.
family,
Press system. Button. Press
system,
cross to select. Storage. Button. Sound. Button. Screen and video. Button. Accessories. Button. Press cross
Okay.
to select. Save data and game/app settings. Button. Notifications. Button. Captures and broadcasts. Button.
okay.
Press cross to select.
And there you go, you're at the bottom. I like the fact you get the tone. Let's go all the way to the top.
User's guide.
I'm not
health and
going to go
safety,
into
and other
everything here,
information.
but I do want to point
Button.
out a few
Press
different
cross to select.
things.
Accessibility.
But let's
Button.
go for sure
Press
into accessibility because
accessibility.
that's what you guys want to
Display.
know about.
Button. Screen reader. Display.
So we got,
Button.
let's go under
Press cross to
display.
select. Invert colors. Off.
I turn,
Button.
invert
cross to
colors
select.
is off.
Color correction. Button. Press cross to select. Adjust colors to help you see things on the screen more clearly.
Okay.
Text size. Very large. Button.
So you
Press cross to
have
select.
everything from like small and like normal to large and then very large, which is what we're on here.
Bold text. On.
I
Button.
turned bold
Press cross
text
to
on. I'm
select.
glad they
Make
have
text
that
bold.
option. I'm always a big fan of bold text.
High contrast. On. Button. Press cross to select. Adjust the colors of text and backgrounds to improve the clarity of things on the screen. This works only with some features.
Okay, so there you go. It gives us our little blurb about it. It tells it doesn't work everywhere, but in general it should.
Auto scroll speed. Slow. Button. Press cross to select. Set the speed of horizontal text scrolling.
Now that is something I haven't really run across yet, but I did switch it manually to slow because one of the things that I've complained about in some game videos, especially where they have text cutscenes, is being able to read text fast enough. So if that scenario ever does come up, I like the fact that you can change that to be a slower speed to make it easier for someone with low vision to read. That's cool.
Reduce motion. Off. Button. Press cross to select. Reduce motion effects and screen movement.
So similar to what you have in iOS, kind of a reduce motion. Again, not something I really have to, like, it doesn't bother me, so I'm just going to keep it at normal or default. But again, that's something you can change if you want to. So there's your low vision or your visual display settings.
Display. Screen reader. Button.
Screen reader, this
Press
is
cross to select.
cool. So that's what we're using now.
Enable screen reader. On. Button.
On.
Press cross to select.
Now, what I will mention, I do want to mention a couple things here about the screen reader. I have had a couple issues with it. I know it's supposed to start when you unbox your PS5 for the first time, and I don't know if I just didn't wait long enough. I waited a while, but mine didn't really seem to come up right away. And unlike the Xbox, I don't know, at least it doesn't say, other than going into settings, I don't know if there is a controller shortcut. Like on the Xbox One, I think you could, what was it? You hold down the Xbox button and I think you hit start or something like that, and it would toggle narrator on and off. The screen reader, I don't know if there was a quick toggle controller command for that. So if there is, and I just don't know it, I apologize. But when I did the original setup, I actually did it visually just because I waited and nothing really did come up audibly. So either I missed something or it just, I didn't wait long enough or whatever. So potentially though, I probably just screwed something up, and I think it is supposed to work. And Brandon, if you're watching this, or whoever, if any of you also own a PS5 and can chime in the comments below, feel free to do so. But yeah, I mean, otherwise the screen reader has worked really well. I have had 2 instances so far, and I've used it pretty heavily off and on the last couple of weeks, where
Speech speed. Fast 3. Press cross
I
to
have
select.
had the screen reader just stop, like literally turn off, and you either have to go into settings or just turn off the console and then turn it back on, and then it comes up and it's fine. So I don't know, the screen reader will sometimes occasionally crash, so just be aware of that. Hopefully Sony does release an update to lessen that even more. But it's just one of those things that I have had happen, and I feel it fair to let you guys know that, yeah, you know, it's technology. It sometimes crashes. But we have a speed here, so
Speech speed. Fast 3. Button.
so fast
Press cross to
3. I
select.
forget how far you can
To move,
go.
press the up and down buttons. Fast 4. Fast 5. Not selected.
Yeah, fast
Button.
5 is
Press cross to
really
select.
fast. We'll go to 5 just so you can hear.
Speech speed. Fast 5. Button. Voice type. Female. Speech speed. Fast 5.
I can
Button.
understand
Press
it
select.
pretty well, but just with the way the voice is, and usually if I have something else in the background, like my furnace or something like that, I find that it's just a little bit easier to...
Enable screen reader. Speech speed. Fast 5. To move, press the up and down. Fast 4.
Let's see
Not
what
selected.
4
Speech
is.
speed. Fast 4. Enable screen reader. On. Button.
Well, for the video's sake, let's put it down to
To move, press the
3.
up and down. Fast 3. Speech speed. Fast 3. Button.
I
Press cross
might
to select.
put it to 4. I don't know. I might leave it at 3 too. Like I said, there might, and again, if you have the menu music and stuff in the background, you know, just having it a little bit slower makes it a little bit easier. But you can adjust the speed, which is good, and they do give you a fair few number of options.
Voice type. Female.
There's your female voice. I'll show you the male
To move,
real
press
quick.
the up and down buttons. Male.
Voice type. Male. Speech speed. Fast free. Voice type. Male. Button.
Well, now one
Press
thing
cross
I
to
did
select.
notice when you are using the PS5 screen reader versus pretty much the same voice that you hear in The Last of Us 2 or on the PS4, the PS5, it almost sounds compressed, like it's using like a kind of like how you have the compressed and the uncompressed version of Samantha or some of the voices on iOS. It almost sounds like it's a little bit compressed, and I kind of wish there were. Maybe they'll add like an higher quality option. Maybe that just added too much lag, and they didn't want to do that. But maybe they can address that, because when I go into The Last of Us Part 2, and I might just show you in this video just so you can kind of hear, you do notice like it is a little bit easier to hear the voice in The Last of Us 2 compared to the screen reader of the PS5. So just a little note there.
Voice volume. 50%. Voice type. Male.
Let's
But-
switch it back to
Move,
female. I
press
find
up
that
and down
it's
buttons.
easier to hear that a little
Female.
bit for me.
Not so.
Voice type. Female.
And boom, it just switches
Button.
really fast,
Press
which
cross
I
to
like.
select.
There's not a lot of lag or anything.
Voice volume. 50%. Button. Press. To move, press the right and left buttons. 54%. 58%. Button. 62%. Button.
All right,
Press cross to select.
let's just put it at 62 for
volume.
now. Let's bump it up a little
62%.
bit.
Button. Press
So
cross to
again,
select.
very easy.
Screen
There's
reader.
your screen
Button.
reader.
Controllers. Button.
So
cross to
controllers,
custom
let's
button
look under
assignments.
here for you.
Vibration. Custom button assignments. Button. Press cross to select.
We can do
Change controller button assignments.
custom
This doesn't work
button
with some controllers.
assignments.
Vibration intensity. Strong. Standard. Button.
So you
Press
can
cross to select.
change
When
that,
you're using
the
microphone on your controller,
intensity.
the
Some
intensity is set to
people,
weak. If you use a headset or mute the microphone, the intensity selected here will be applied.
especially if you have like a motor impairment or something, some people really like to have no or little vibration. So you can turn some of that stuff down or off.
Trigger effect intensity. Strong. Standard.
Same there
Button.
with the trigger
Press cross to
intensity.
select.
And that
When
stuff
you're
is
using the
really
microphone on your
cool,
controller, the
by the
intensity
way.
is
I
set to
really
weak.
like that.
If you use press and hold delay. Normal. Button.
Press and hold
Press
delay,
cross to
that's a
select.
cool
Set the
feature.
press and hold delay for the PS button and the create button.
So there you go.
Controllers.
There is your
Press cross to
controller
select.
settings.
Closed captions. Button.
Got some closed
Press cross
caption
to
options
display
here.
Closed caption. Closed cap. Display closed captions. Off.
I have mine off, but there
Press
are a
cross-
couple of
closed
other
caption
settings in
settings.
here if you
Disable.
that's grayed
Unselectable.
out. But
Display closed captions.
so you've got closed caption
Button.
options.
Chat transcription. Button.
Chat
Press cross to select.
transcription. This is pretty cool.
Convert the voice chat of other players in parties and games to text, and read aloud the text you enter to other players. Chat transcription for in-game voice chats is available only for games that support it. Enable chat transcription. Off. Button.
So if I wanted
cross to
to, I
select.
could do that.
Language. Default English, United States. Button.
Choose your
Press cross to
language
select. Voice type. Male. Button.
and
press
voice
cross to
type
select.
male.
Select your voice type. The
And
text you enter will be read aloud in this voice to other players.
right, so this is for, the text to speech would read it on your end, but you can choose like what other people hear. Do they want do they want to hear you as a male or female voice? So that's kind of interesting. So you've got
Learn more.
a
Button.
couple of
cross to
options
select.
on
Chat
the
transcription.
chat
Button.
transcription.
Press cross to
So
select.
there you go. There's what we have under accessibility.
Settings.
Um,
Accessibility. Network.
let's see,
Button.
network.
Users and accounts. Family and parental
I'm trying to
controls.
remember where this other
Button.
stuff
Press
is.
system. Button.
It's not
press
under
cross to select.
system, I don't think.
Storage. Button. Press cross to select.
Storage. And you can manage your storage. You can add and delete things at will.
Sound. Button. Press cross to select.
Oh, let me go under sound. There's a couple things I want to show you here.
Sound. Microphone. Button. Press
So you
cross
can
to
adjust
select.
some stuff with your
Input device.
microphone.
Adjust input device. Microphone on remote play device. Button.
So I
Press
could
cross to
use my
select.
microphone on my remote play device, which is cool because in theory I should be able to use my Turtle Beach headset that I'm using to record to you guys right now. So that's cool, but if I wanted, I could say I want to use my controller instead. I could just switch that here.
Adjust microphone level. Button.
There's your
Press
mic
cross to select.
level.
Microphone status when logged in. On. Button.
So
cross to
when
select.
logged in on, if I wanted to, I could leave that, I could set that to off by default. Like if normally I don't really want to talk to people, and if I can turn it on manually, I can do that.
Microphone status when starting chat or broadcast. Don't change. Button.
Okay,
Press
so
cross
yeah,
to
you got a
select.
couple cool options
Microphone.
there.
Audio output. Button.
Now here we go.
Press cross to volume.
I think
Audio
it's under
output.
audio
Button.
output. Let's go
Output
here.
device. HDMI device. TV.
So
Button.
HDMI
Press cross to
device, yep.
switch output device automatically. On. Button. Press cross to select. If you turn off this setting, your PS5 won't automatically switch the audio output device to a new one, such as a headset you connect.
And I leave this on because this is really nice. I can, you know, when I unplug or I turn off my wireless headset, or if I plug in the headset to my controller, it'll just automatically switch. And I like that. I want that behavior to keep. So we'll leave that alone.
HDMI device type. TV. Button.
Okay.
Press cross. Av amplifier. Number of. Adjust speaker positions. Headphones. Output to headphones. All audio. Disabled. Unselectable button.
Oh, so it still thinks, okay, that's interesting.
Enable 3D audio. On. Disabled. Unselectable button.
So
Output to headphones. All audio.
I
Number of channel.
wonder.
HDMI device type. TV. Button. Press cross to select. To move, press the up and down. Av amplifier. Soundbar. Not app. TV. Select HDMI
I'm going to
device
leave it
type.
at TV for
TV.
now.
Button. Press cross
Uh,
to select.
so here's an interesting thing. Apparently, when I'm mirrored, even though I am using headphones, it doesn't know that. So it thinks I'm just up. It thinks I'm just outputting to my TV. So 3D audio only is supported when you have headphones plugged in, or if you have a pair of wireless supported headphones. So again, you can't just use any old Bluetooth headset. I tried. But if you have the one like the Pulse 3D ones, which I got, or a couple other pair that are supported, then you get 3D audio. And what I can't show right now here, but when you go down,
Headphone. Enable 3D audio. Adjust 3D audio profile. Disabled. Unselectable button.
so
Optimize your 3D audio experience by selecting one of several 3D audio profiles.
this is cool. Adjust 3D audio profile. It gives you, I want to say, like 4 or 5 different options, and it's kind of how the positioning of, you know, depending on how your ears are shaped and whatnot, you can kind of raise or lower kind of how high the sound is, and some things might sound better or worse to other people. So it'll play some sounds, and then you can kind of just listen to them for a minute and see which one you think sounds the most immersive, the most 3D. So I would recommend going in here once you have headphones plugged in. These will not be grayed out. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how to, since I'm doing the remote play thing, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream 3D sound, which is a bummer. Because if I even want to play, even if I just want to play it on my computer screen, I'm not currently, unless I can figure out a way around it, I'm not going to be able to get the 3D audio, which is well, actually, yes, I could. If I'm not streaming or recording a video, I could just plug a pair of headphones into my controller, and then you would get that option. But like I said, it just knows it's connected to the TV. Apparently it doesn't know what the remote play thing is all hooked up to, whether it's speakers or headphones. So it just goes, meh, no. So that's something to note. But I wanted to point that out.
Settings. Sound.
And
Press
there's
cross to
one
select.
other thing under settings I wanted to show you.
Screen and video. Button.
And I don't
cross to
remember where it
Accessories.
is.
Press cross. Save data and game / app settings. Notifications.
Save data
and game
and
/ app settings.
I think it might be
Button.
under here.
Press save data and game / apps. Save data PS5. Button. Press cross. Save data PS4.
So I can
Press cross to
customize
select.
if I have an external drive. I can save I can tell it, hey, automatically save any downloaded PS4 games to an external drive, because PlayStation 5 games must be run on the internal storage. That's just the way it is. PS4 games can be run from either, and if you, again, as big as games are, I've already filled up a good chunk of my hard drive, which is why I haven't installed some of these other games. You might want to consider putting your PlayStation 4 games on an external drive. I have heard, especially early on, that there were some issues where if you had PS4 games on an external drive, there were some hardware issues, and PS5s would get kind of cranky and either mess up your hard drive, external drive, or kind of you'd have to reset your PS5 altogether. I haven't heard definitively if that has been patched or fixed yet, and I kind of want to find some official clarification before I really jump the gun and do that, because I'm a little gun shy about having heard a few horror stories. I just really don't want to deal with that right now. So it is a feature, and I hope that Sony has patched it.
Game presets. Button.
So this is
Press
cool.
cross to select.
Game presets. I can go in here and let's go in here.
Start new games with your preferred settings, such as difficulty and control.
So
Performance, difficulty,
difficulty,
performance mode or resolution mode.
performance mode or
Performance mode.
resolution.
Button. First person view. Button. Press cross to select.
I can say, like, do I want inverted or not inverted first person view?
Third person view.
Third person view.
Subtitles and audio. Button.
Subtitles and
Press cross to
audio. I
select.
can turn those types of things on or off.
Game presets.
And it won't work for
Button.
everything
Press
per
cross to
se, but like if a game supports it, like you can kind of, if you set this at a system level, then you can just kind of quickly jump into a game and it'll be like, oh, these are kind of the settings that you want. So you don't always have to go in and turn subtitles on, set the, some weirdo put invert the y-axis in a first-person shooter, which you people are crazy. Sorry. But, it'll save your preference that way. Excuse me a second. There we go. I had to get a drink real quick. So this is a really cool idea, and I would like to even maybe see things expanded a little bit. I'm not quite sure what other settings you would put there, but that is really cool. And I'd love to see Xbox do that on their Xbox Series consoles if they haven't done so already. That's a really cool idea. So that is something I wanted to show you
Settings. Save data and
in settings. So that's all I'm really going to show
Press
you in settings. There's a few
Settings.
other things I want to
Button.
show you
Press cross to select.
regarding
Verify.
accessibility and the screen reader and whatnot. So we're at the home screen right now.
Your games
Let's
home. Button. Press
go.
cross to your media home. Button.
So I'll show you
Press
the
cross to
media
select.
home. I'll
TV
hit
and video.
that.
Home for
Boom,
Jesse
it
Anderson.
switches.
Button.
Now
cross to
instead of
select.
my
Tools
games,
map. All apps. Home for
I have
Jesse
all
Anderson.
apps,
Button. TV and video. Home for Jesse
TV and
Anderson.
video,
Disc player. Home for Jesse
disc
Anderson.
player. There's
Button.
I've got
Press cross
RoboCop
to
in there
select.
right now.
3 of 9.
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, yeah.
Disc
So
player.
I see it in the
Home
bottom
for
corner.
Jesse
I've got
Anderson.
RoboCop.
Button.
I'm not going to play
Press
it
cross to
because
select.
copyright.
3 of 9. Netflix. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Netflix,
Press cross to select. Disney Plus. Home for Jesse
Disney
Anderson.
Plus.
Button.
Sadly,
Press
the
cross to
screen
select.
reader doesn't seem to
5 of
work
9.
there at all.
L1 button. Prime Video. Home for
Prime
Jesse Anderson.
Video,
Button.
I think
Press
it
cross to
works.
select.
I
6 of 9.
I don't know if I've
L1
signed
button
into
or
there
L1 button
yet.
switch homes. YouTube. Home
So
for Jesse
YouTube,
Anderson.
I haven't tried
Button.
that yet.
Peacock. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Peacock,
Button.
I don't have
Press
it,
cross to select.
so I don't.
App library. Home for Jesse Anderson.
So there's your app
Button.
library.
Disney Plus. Netflix. Home for Jesse Anderson. Button.
What I
cross to
will say
select.
about
4 of 9.
Netflix is
L1
that
button or L1
if
button switch
you
homes. Options button options.
have the
button.
screen
Press
reader
down button.
on, I think it uses its own sort of interface because the dashboard is really zippy. It's responsive. But when you go into Netflix, everything is just sort of laggier and slower. I know on other systems, I think even on like, what was it, the Apple TV or Xbox or something, when I used it, some of the stuff, like it just seemed different. Like it just seemed like it used its own overlay and it just wasn't quite as responsive as the native screen reader. But nevertheless, I'm still glad it's there. I'm still glad it does read. So I wanted to show you that. Let's go back
Your media
up.
home. Button. Your games home.
My game's
Explore.
home.
Home for Jesse Anderson.
And let's pop
Button.
into the store
Press
real
asterisk,
quick
Explore.
because I'll show you a couple
Official
things
news.
here. There's a couple
To move,
things
press
worth
the up, down,
noting.
left, and right buttons. To move to different
Let's go
sections, press the
down.
up. Live broadcasts of games you follow. Mortal Kombat 11. Polo Outlet Invitational MK11 Exhibitions co-host VBAB of S2EP7 and
Okay, so we got
4PM2.
some live
Login
broadcasts.
underscore
That's
co-op.
interesting.
Popular videos of games you follow.
Wait a minute. I thought I was in the store,
games
wasn't
home.
I?
Button. Your media. Your games home. Button. Press cross to select. Explore. Home. PlayStation Store.
Oh, okay. I
for
was
Jesse
on
Anderson.
Explore. Whoopsie.
Press
Explore,
cross to select.
store. Hey,
1
sounds
11.
similar.
Up. Must see. To move, press the up, down, left, and
So
right
there's
buttons.
must see.
Image. Button. Image. Button. Press cross to select. Triangle button. Utilities.
So here's
button or
the
R1 button.
problem
Switch
that
tabs.
you have in the store. when you get into a section deep enough and you're looking at game titles like the box art and you're looking at individual games, it reads those, so you can read that. But if you're reading like promotional slides here, little promotional images like, oh, here's a collection of shooters or puzzle games or on sale now or publisher sale or whatever it happens to be, whatever kind of grouping or whatever sort of highlight they have, all the screen reader will say is image, image. And I don't necessarily think it's the screen reader's fault. I think it's the way that Sony has created the store and didn't actually put alt text on those particular images. Maybe the games itself, they made sure to add that alt text field so that they were there. But for the promo stuff, either they didn't add that field and they really need to, or they really need to be labeling those and adding that alt text so that the screen reader can recognize it. But anyway, like if you go...
Image. Image. Button. Press
Let's just, I'm going to go into that
PS5
image.
games.
Oh, what did it
Resident
say?
Evil Village. $59.90.
Hold on.
Must see. To move, press image.
It was
Image.
under the must-see
Button.
section.
Press all PS5 games.
Oh, okay, all
Resident
PS5
Evil,
games.
Back 4 Blood. Resident Evil Village. Back 4 Blood. Ratchet and Clank.
See, when I
Ratchet
go
Clank.
in there, it'll read them.
Deathloop. Hood, Outlaws and Blades.
Deathloop, that's the game I was trying to remember when I
$49.99.
was going to do the
Pre-order.
search.
Button. Press pause to
Deathloop,
select.
yeah.
Monster Truck Championship. Hunting Simulator 2.
So it'll read
Justin
that,
Rose, must
but
see.
when you get to
Move,
the
press the
actual
up, down, left, and
announcements
right
things, it
buttons.
just doesn't read those
Image.
yet.
Button. Press what's hot. To move.
What's
press the up,
hot?
down. No to remastered the complete edition PS4. Godfall. Installed.
So these
Button.
are reading,
Press
even though
pause to
these are
select.
different
No to
sizes.
remastered the image. Button. No to remastered the completed image.
Okay, some
Button.
of them read
Press
and some
pause
of
to
them
select.
don't. Like this big
Godfall.
box art does
Installed.
for Godfall.
Press image.
That
Button.
one
Press cross to
doesn't,
select. No to
but the
remastered
little
complete
one
edition
above
PS4
it
and PS5.
does.
Button. Press cross to
That
select.
big one
Triangle
doesn't.
button.
So there
Utilities.
is
L1
some
button or R1 button. Switch tabs.
there is some inconsistency in the store. But if there's a game that you know that you want to specifically find, just do a search and it'll pull it right up and then it'll be accessible that way. And if you, let's say that you arrow down to, oh, the sales selection or the hot now, and then you hear some image, you don't know what they're trying to tell you, just go into it. And odds are once you get in that next level, it'll kind of tell you the title, and then you should be able to arrow around to the game titles that they have in that section. So it's not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot more usable, especially for a full screen reader user, or blind user, than the PS4 ever was with what it had. Because that, I don't think the store didn't talk at all. So that is kind of just a really quick
Pre-orders.
overview
To
of
move,
the
press the up, down,
store.
left. What's hot? Games home.
Let's
PlayStation Store.
back
Home for Explore.
out,
Home for Jesse Anderson. Button.
and
Press
I
pause
want to
to select. 2 of
show.
11. L1 button or R1 button. Switch homes.
Let's go
Options
into The
button
Last
option.
of Us because I
New
want to show you
content.
that
Press the
difference
down button.
between the PS5 screen reader and The Last of Us. So listen to it now.
Astro's Playroom. God of War. Ratchet and Clank. The Last of Us Part 2.
Let's go
Home for
in it.
Jesse
This will take a little bit longer because it's a PS4 title, but I will say the loading times, especially on PS5 games, are super quick. It's really cool. I'll show
The
you
Last of
that
Us Part
too.
2.
But once we get in here, just listen to how the how the Last of Us screen reader sounds. Naughty Dog. Let me load. Come on. And this will allow
Press
me to
any
show you
button.
something else too.
Story.
See, listen to that, how clear that is.
Continue.
It just sounds like the PS5 one, it almost needs like a bass treble or like a tone. Because the PS5 one, it's like I'm kind of putting my hand over my mouth. You can hear it, but it's muffled. It just doesn't sound quite as crisp as the one in The Last of Us. So it'll load here in a second. I know I'm in... Oh, I think I just got into the open world part of Seattle. I think that's where I left off. Looking for the gas cans. Come on. Load. You know you wanna. Taking longer than I thought it would, to be honest. Here we go. So I can bring up...
Crafting. Health kit. Missing ingredients. Molotov. Missing ingredients. You are miss health kit. Missing ingredients. You are missing alcohol. Recipe requires alcohol and rag. You have alcohol.
So,
1/4 rag.
there
1
is
and a
your
half.
Last
Health
of
kit,
Us...
0. Maximum 3.
Shush.
Restores a moderate
Good
amount of
Lord,
health.
shut up.
Hold R2 button.
Hang on.
to
Hush. And now I'm going to pause it.
options. X button.
So there's your
Select.
voice.
Circle button. Back.
Now, when you're in a game or a media app, I can hit the PlayStation button. If I hold it, it'll go home. And you can switch that around or customize it under settings, actually. But the default behavior is if I hold it, it'll go home. If I tap it...
Control center for Jesse Anderson.
Control
The time is now
center.
7:46 p.m.
So this is pretty
Bronze
cool.
trophy. Tools of the trade. Craft every item. Rare. Button.
You have a
Press cross
few
to select.
things. You
To
have
navigate
essentially
cards, press the left and right
two
buttons. To
rows
select, press the cross
of
button.
stuff.
To access the controls, press the down button.
Shut up. There needs to be almost like a shut up kind of a gesture, like maybe just lightly touch the touchpad or something. So you have two rows of things. You have your gamer, you have your cards, which is what it puts you on to start with, and I could arrow to the right. And these cards can be a number of things. If you're in a voice conversation, your first card will be your voice chat options. So you can adjust your mic quality, you can end the call, you can add other people to the call, whatever you want to do. If you're in a game, it'll come up with like, oh, here's some trophies that you can try to shoot for. If there are in a game like Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can... the map is not accessible. Like, it does not have any speech or anything like that. So, yeah, I can try to struggle through it with my vision. But what's neat is in Miles Morales, some of the cards that come up are like missions or activities, and if you go to that card, not only will it activate that mission, but it'll take you to that point on the map and just start it. So that's super cool. Think about like, oh, maybe the game is overall kind of playable for a blind person, but they just can't get to that location. If they're able to pull up some of that through the cards interface, not necessarily through the game itself, if it doesn't have text-to-speech, it's kind of an interesting accessibility workaround, and it's pretty cool. So it has things like that. Let's arrow to the right and just see. This is a PS4 game. I'll pop into a PS5 game just so you can see.
Cards. Silver trophy. Specialist. Learn all player upgrades in one branch. Common. Button.
Okay.
Cards. Bronze trophy. Cards. Silver trophy. Cards. Silver trophy. Cards. Official news.
So there's some news.
Cards. Take screenshot.
And the last one always
Recently
seems to be a
created.
take screenshot button.
Cards.
Now,
Silver trophy.
let me just
Cards.
arrow over so it
Take
shuts
screenshot.
up.
Recently created. New video clip. February 13th, 1:49 p.m.
All right.
14.
So
Press cross to select.
there's my
To navigate
cards. If I
press the
arrow
left and right buttons.
down,
To select,
I get
press
to
the
my
cross
true
button.
control
To access the
center.
controls, press the
And
down
these
button.
are like your quick settings, just like you would have, think about your control center on iOS. It's got some quick stuff you might want to access.
Controls. Home. 1 of 10.
Like, go
Button.
home,
Press controls. Switcher. 2 of 10.
switcher, you can
Button.
kind of, that's your
Press
app
cross to
switcher.
select.
You can switch
To
between
navigate the
open
controls,
games and
use the left
apps.
button. Controls. Notifications. 3 of 10.
Notifications,
You have no
self-explanatory.
Controls. Game base. 4 of 10. See what your friends are up to and join voice chats and play games with them in parties.
So
Allow
there's
updates
your
for
game
parties.
base. You can
Button.
add friends and
Press cross to
manage
select.
them and join
To navigate the
parties and
controls,
make
use the left button and
parties
right
and
button
all
press the
that
cross
kind of a
button to select.
stuff. Voice
You can
chat,
customize your
text
controls with
chat.
the options button. Options button.
So
Customize.
I've played around in there a bit. I've got a couple PlayStation friends.
Controls. Music. 5 of 10.
Music.
Button. Press cross
If
to
you're
select.
listening to
To
music,
navigate the
obviously.
Controls. Sound. 6 of 10.
Sound.
Press cross to select.
If I go
To
in
navigate-
here,
Sound selected. Output device. HDMI device.
so I
TV.
can choose output
Button. Voice chat
device.
balance. Disabled. Media volume. Music. Video. 76%.
Couple of options there.
Controls. Mic. 7 of 10.
Now
Do
this
not
is
recognize
handy
muted.
because right
Button.
now mic
Mic
is...
selected. Mute. On. Disable. Adjust. Mute. On. Disable.
Mute is on.
Unselectable button.
Oh, okay. Because the way I have it hooked up. Okay, so... Oh, yeah, because it's using my other remote device for mic. So if I was just using it normal, I could turn my microphone on and off, adjust my balance or my level, that kind of a thing.
Controls. Accessories. 8 of 10.
Accessories,
Button.
this is
Press
handy.
cross
So
to
let's say
select.
that I want to
To
find out
navigate the
how
controls, use the
charged
left
is
button
my
or right button and press the
PlayStation
cross button to
controller.
select. Accessory selected. Controller. Button. Press cross to select. USB microphone. Button.
Okay.
Press cross to select.
So USB microphone, it sees that. And this is where, like, if I had my wireless headset, I can quick go in here and I can check the battery status. Like, well, do I need to charge it or can I wait another day? So this is where I can quickly check that status.
Controls. Profile. 9 of 10.
Profile, I'm not
Your
going to
status
go
is
in
set to
there and
online.
mess with all that,
Button.
but
Press cross
that
to
stuff
select.
is
To
accessible.
navigate. Controls. Power. 10 of 10.
And power,
Button.
you can
Press
restart the
cross to
console,
select.
you can turn
To
it
navigate the
off, you
controls,
can
use the
do
left
all
button or
kinds of
right button
stuff
and press the
there.
cross button to select.
So,
You can customize your controls with the options button. Options button. Customize.
I mean, these are your control, like your quick controls. You just hit the PlayStation button and you bring up that, you arrow down, and you can just go to whatever one of these options you quickly want to set or customize. Once you learn the layout and like you just learn, oh, this is a horizontal option. A lot of the options and menus are horizontal. When you go into the main settings, those are vertical. But like, once you learn the interface, and if you can't go anywhere, if I hit down, I can't go down. If I hit up,
Cards.
there's my
Take
cards.
Controls.
There we go. So if I hit
Cards.
up again,
Take screenshot.
I
Recently
can't
created.
go up any
New
higher.
video clip.
So you get
February
enough
13th,
audio
1:49 p.m.
cues.
014. Button. Press cross to select.
Hush.
To navigate cards, press the left and right buttons. To select, press the cross button. To access the controls, press the down button.
See, it even gives you contextual help. I didn't even pay attention to that. So it tells you, hey, if you want to get the actual controls settings down there, the actual controls, go down. So again, the screen reader, I think they did a really good job. It works in pretty much, I would say, 95% of the dashboard and the store and everything. Couple other issues I wanted to quickly mention as far as the screen reader. I don't remember which ones. There was a couple of settings that I went into, like when I went under settings, and I want to say it read the sizes, but there was one setting where I had to choose between like 3 or 4 options, and when I arrowed up and down between them, it just said button, button, button. Like it didn't actually read me the options in that final submenu. And I can't remember which one it was. I'd have to go back and find it again. But that was very rare. But there were 1 or 2 instances where I found that. Most of them are fine. The other weird issue that I have sometimes is when I go into the control center, and for some reason, and I almost think it's before the screen reader is getting ready to crash, because I think now that I think about it, I mentioned that it has crashed twice. And when it did, before that, when I would arrow left and right, so let me go down here, let me show you.
Controls. Profile. Controls. Accessories. Controls. Mic. Controls. Sound.
So controls,
Button.
sound, blah, blah,
Press
blah.
cross to
I'm going to
select.
back out so it shuts
The
up.
Last of Us Part 2.
That's fine. It reads controls, sound, controls, mic. That's what it's supposed to do.
X button. Select.
But
Circle
what
button. Back.
Yeah, hush. Sometimes what it'll do is it'll be like control, and it'll cut off the actual what the control is, and it'll mention like the press X to whatever, press options for more options. It kind of skips over the actual label. It'll say control, and it'll just kind of skip over or stutter over what the actual control label is. And sometimes if you arrow slower, you pause between arrows, it'll work okay. And I don't know, using your analog stick versus D-pad, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference, but sometimes it does. I don't know. But then I think when it starts to do that, I think is when, like, then the screen reader would eventually just die. So I've seen that happen a couple of times. So there are a couple of screen reader bugs, couple screen reader issues that could be and hopefully will be ironed
X
out
button. Select.
in
Circle
a
button.
future
Back.
update. So what we're going to do to wrap up this video, this is a long one, but again, I want to comprehensively show you, just give you a tour of the system. If you are a blind user or a low vision user, you could get into a game like Mortal Kombat 11. You could get into The Last of Us. You could go buy those games and then download them independently. Again, it's just going to be a matter of when the games themselves add accessibility features in game. So if you want to play a fighting game that a lot of blind people will play, you can play those. If you have sighted assistance and want to try some other games, you might be able to do that. You can play The Last of Us 2, and again, hopefully within the next couple of years as accessibility is taking off, you maybe will have more options to play, but the system level, it's pretty good. It's vastly better than the PS4.
X button. Select.
It's
Circle
much,
button.
much better
Back.
than that. So, heck yeah. I use a screen reader all the time, and I definitely approve. I want to just briefly show you the card thing like in Spider-Man. So I'm going to show you how quickly this sucker loads. So I'm going to hold the home button. Let's go
The Last of
home.
Us Part 2. Astro's Playroom.
And-
God of War. Home for Jesse Anderson. Ratchet and Clank. Godfall. PlayStation Plus. Destruction All-Star. Maiden.
Where is it?
Game Library. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Wait, I thought
Play- Ra-
I have it installed, don't I?
PlayStation Store.
Hang on.
Explore. The Last of Us. Astro's Playroom. God of War. Ratchet and Clank. Godfall. PlayStation Plus. Destruction All-Stars. Maiden. Home.
Maiden?
Game Library. Home for Jesse Anderson.
Oh, it only shows so many.
Press cross to
Okay.
select. Control. Download.
Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
Control. Marvel Spider-Man. Miles Morales. Installed.
Yeah, let's go there.
Marvel Spider-Man. Miles.
Play. So here we go. We hit play. And watch how fast it goes in.
Marvel
And this is an
Spider-Man, Miles
open
Morales.
world game. Get our little credits thing. I hit... Okay, it's not letting me skip the logo this time. But I haven't played this in a while. So... Normally when I go in, I don't have to watch all these logos. I can just skip past the Marvel stuff and whatever. But, there's our subway. Hey, Miles. I hit A, or X, or whatever the hell. 1, 2, boom, I'm already in. I'm already in the game. And this is open world. I can just, let's go. Swinging, climbing, running. This game is really cool, you guys.
You all know that I pride
Ah,
myself
Jameson,
on
you
truth,
prick.
integrity, and facts. I've been tough on this new Spider-Man since the disaster on Braithwaite Bridge. For good reason. The kid
Yeah, whatever,
screwed things
punk.
up so bad, even the original model would have blushed redder than his costume. The classic one, not that ugly new thing.
Alright, so let's jump on the top of this building.
Also acknowledge that the city
And
is
I will try to
rallying
maybe do a
around
video
this
for
young
this or something. But, okay, so I paused it. Now let's bring up that card thing. Let's say that I wanted to do one of those side activities. I'll hit home.
Control Center for Jesse Anderson. The time is now 7:59. Cards. Cards. Challenge. Combat Challenge 3.0.
Okay, you know what? I haven't done that.
Reload.
Combat
One
Challenge
activity
3.0. Let's do it. Let's hit A,
Combat Challenge 3.0 selected.
and I'll hit A again to go there.
Marvel
1,
Spider-Man. Miles
2,
Morales.
3, done. Look at how fast that is. And I'm literally
Got 2 words
in.
for you. Air combat. In this challenge, enemies only take damage while airborne. Get as many airborne KOs as possible. Approach the prompt when you're ready.
Air combat? Oh, I got this.
So I'm not going to do that particular combat. I'm not going to do it right now in this video. But I mean, look at, if I bring up the map, let me do that real quick. If I hit touch, they do the touchpad. None of this reads. Look at the text. Like if I hover over one of these icons, like, okay, it's up in the corner up there. Like it's a little harder for me to see some of that. There's another icon, and it's not going to work for everything, but if I want to just try my hand at like, oh, let's see what random cards might happen to be up, it is kind of a cool way to do it. And, it doesn't even just set it on your waypoint. You're there. And it took like what, 2.5 seconds just to jump from one part of the open world to the other. That's awesome. I mean, this game loads just super fast. So, that's pretty much the PlayStation 5, guys. That is the PlayStation 5 home interface.
Press cross to select. 3 of 11.
Like I said, I'll do another video for the system. I'll do another video for the headset that I bought. But this should give you at least a surface level idea of what accessibility features are there and just how it overall works with Sony's built-in screen reader. I'm super glad that it's much, much better than it was on the PS4, and it's not just surface level. I'm quite impressed, and I'm glad now that all my PS4 games can play on my new system. I don't even really have to use my PS4 anymore. I can sell it, or I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but yeah, PS5, a few bugs here and there so far, but overall, I'm quite pleased and quite impressed. The loading speed is definitely, the loading speed and the controller are my two favorite things so far, I think. The one downside is, yes, the hard drive is fast, but boy howdy, I know it's expensive, but like, I don't know, man, they should have put like a 4 terabyte sucker in this thing, because it's just, the hard drive is going to go so fast. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys found it helpful. Like the video if you did. Subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at BGFH79 as well. IllegallyCited.com. Twitch.tv/IllegallyCited. And right here on YouTube. Hope you guys again like the video. And until next time, I will chat with you guys again later.